Hi, it's really good to be back with you to continue this woman's evolution, as I've titled this, awe-inspiring the world, and just so thrilled with all of the things that I've been learning and the feedback I've been getting from various people about how these videos have really touched them. And that's really the whole point of this, is just to be real and honest and raw with you about the experiences I have as I learn to go through my own healing process and share that with others, because like I said before, I know that there's so many things that happen in our lives on a daily basis that just, even some that just keep, repeating themselves over and over. And sometimes it takes a real cosmic 2x4 sometimes for us to really get the message of um, what we're really supposed to get out of it, what the meat of it is. And one particular experience I wanted to share with you that really opened my eyes up to really looking into the soul of another person was an experience I had last week with my 6-year-old, soon-to-be 7-year-old. He has had a history of having occasional bedwetting accidents, and of course, like most moms, it's kind of disappointing. I get a little tiffy and irritated because of the inconvenience it causes me. I've got to change his sheets and get them cleaned up. It just really adds a lot of more downtime for me to do what I want to do to take care of these simple things. And typically my response to him when this happens is I tend to, I didn't, until I really started looking back on it, really, a lot of the comments I make have been really personal to him, that he's a big boy, he knows better. Really the message he's probably been hearing from his mother is that he's not good enough because he wets the bed. And even though that's not been my intention for that to come across, sometimes it has. And I have felt that, especially after this experience I had with him last week. Last week, he woke up with the same thing. He had had an accident in his bed. And for some reason, I didn't overreact. I just said, okay, go take your sheets off your bed, put them in the laundry room like he always does, his clothes and everything else, and go get cleaned up. And he left for school, and I went ahead and washed his clothes and his bed linens and just kind of tossed them down on the floor by his bed because I had to clean his mattress. And later that night, I'd forgotten to put the sheets on his bed before he got home. And so he was getting his pajamas on, and I was up there putting the sheets on his bunk, on his top bunk. And I had this feeling that I had a question to ask him, and it just came out. And again, I don't know where this question came from and why I even answered it the way I did, but it really was something that I think the universe was teaching me, that Spirit was calling me to take ownership in something and to teach a little boy that just because he makes mistakes does not mean that he's a bad kid. And I looked at my little boy and I said, hey bud, do you know why mommy's putting clean sheets on your bed? And I knew the impact of a lot of what I had said to him in the past, because his response was, he put his head down, he said, because I wet the bed. And I got down on my knees, and I made eye contact with that beautiful blue-eyed little boy, and I said, no, I'm putting these sheets on the bed because I love you. And he smiled at me, and there was a moment of heaven in that exchange when he smiled. I knew then in my life, and it took me this whole week to reflect on why this experience, that little exchange, had such a huge impact on me. Because my whole life, I've always been so concerned about what inconveniences me. It's always been about poor me, poor me. I can't do what I want because somebody's in my way. I can't do this because somebody's making my life difficult. Poor me. And in the same breath, I have been absolutely ignoring the fact that there's another being involved in this. I have a little child who only wants to know that he's lovable even though he does wet his bed. Big deal. And, he's already hurting inside. He already feels bad. And there are times my responses have been like salt into an open wound to him. And he's at a very impressionable age, that he's picking up on that message. And then it made me realize how many of us are operating out of these wounds that we've had growing up. We're still operating out of feelings of not being good enough, or rejection, or not feeling like we're ever going to measure up. And that's the message that I want to share with you today. It took my son wetting the bed how many times for me to finally get the message that we are all human beings. We all want to be loved. We all want to express ourselves in the most brilliant way, but sometimes we have wounding that keeps us stuck and keeps us in the same cycle and the same patterns of responding to the world, that even though consciously we don't want to, but subconsciously it's there. And so now when I look at people and I look at difficult situations, I'm starting to really honor that everybody is really and truly trying to do the best they can. And all they want is for someone to know that for someone to validate even that they are lovable no matter what they do. And so with that, I share that message with you, that why do we do what we do? And I hope it's simply because we're coming from a place of love. Thank you for listening.